Welcome back to my channel, guys. Tonight's video is going to be about cognitive behavioral therapy and cognitive distortions. But first, I would really appreciate it if you could click subscribe and maybe like this video, if you actually like it. You don't have to hit like just now, but definitely leave me some feedback and let me know how this is going. Let me know if you like my videos, if you like my topics, or what I should talk about next. I really wanted to talk about these cognitive distortions and frame them around addiction, but they kept kind of going towards talking about Matt. I have been told a lot that my recovery doesn't count. Medication is not sobriety. And it's really disappointing when I hear that because medication does not fix everything. It doesn't fix anything, honestly. It just kind of gives you a pause so that you can fix things yourself. I respect anyone that is working the 12-step programs. If you have any amount of clean time with that, that's amazing. I don't ever want to discredit that or make you feel like that's not amazing, because it is. It's phenomenal, but it doesn't work for everyone. I believe it's an antiquated system that has worked for a very long time for some people, but something to think about is how far psychology has come in the last century. The 12 steps were kind of formed in the early 1900s, I think around the 1920s. Psychotropic medications weren't really introduced until the 1950s. We had our first anxiety medication and medication for schizophrenia in the 50s. And then cognitive behavioral therapy and cognitive therapy came in the 1960s. And then neuroscience came in the 70s. So we have made a lot of advancements. I think that the 12 steps and CBT are on a parallel path. We're both working towards getting to the same destination of recovery, but we're taking separate routes. CBT requires you to put in a lot of work and really develop yourself, much like the 12 steps do. It's just a different way when you combine CBT with MAT. Again, I'm definitely not talking down on anyone in the 12 steps. Congratulations to any amount of clean time that you've had. And I would just hope that you could respect my recovery as much as I respect your recovery. That's really all I could hope for. Tonight's video is going to talk about the other half of MAT, the less talked about part of MAT, but the equally important part, psychosocial therapy. Basically CBT, that's the common therapy used. But a little backstory, Aaron T. Beck developed cognitive therapy in the 1960s, and from there he developed CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. He was originally a psychoanalyst, and he recognized an internal dialogue within his patients, and he noticed that there was a strong link between thoughts and feelings. Basically, what CBT aims to do is to change your thought patterns, which will ultimately change your behavioral patterns. This change is possible because thoughts, attitudes, beliefs, behaviors, feelings, they're all very systemic in nature, which means they're interdependent. Changes in one will most likely result in changes in the other. CBT is action-based type of therapy. You're working with the therapist and you're doing homework outside of therapy. You usually are in treatment for 6 months to a year, but if you're an addict, treatment's probably going to last longer. You have learned a lot of bad behaviors and you have to go back and relearn it all. So the process will take you a little bit longer, but you'll still be able to get results pretty quickly. It's amazing when you recognize these thought patterns. All you have to do is become aware. And once you're aware, you have the option to change it or not. And it's just really awesome. Many of us hold negative thought patterns and we're not even aware of it. We're going to talk about cognitive distortions tonight. And I want to preface with cognitive distortions are normal. Everybody has cognitive distortions. We have at least 2 or 3 that are our primary ones, and you kind of cling to them and they're your coping mechanism, I guess would be a good way to say it. The cognitive distortions that I'm going to talk about tonight are very interconnected as well. There's a lot of overlap within them. So the first cognitive distortion that I would like to cover is filtering, or discounting the positive. This is when you focus on only the negative things going on. It's a rainy day outside, so therefore you're feeling glum. You're running late, you have a rip in your nylons, and everything is just going bad. You didn't notice that now you don't have to water your garden or wash your car and overlook your yummy breakfast and your cheerful son because you are just focusing on the negative. I'm reading a really great book called Who Ordered This Truckload of Dung? I'll link it in the description. And one of the first stories is called Two Bad Bricks. So the monk, when he first gets to his monastery, they are in debt and they don't have any money. So he is building, he's responsible for building, and he has to build this brick wall, and he learns how to do it over time. And as he has visitors that come to the monastery, he's not proud of it and he tries to hide the brick wall, and every time people go by it, he feels such shame, yet no one understands why. They see a beautiful wall, he sees the two bad bricks, and he can't overlook those. So it's all about perspective. The second cognitive distortion is my personal favorite. It's called polarized thinking. This is when you have an all or nothing, black and white type of attitude. You see things in a dichotomous view. You completely overlook any possible shades of gray in the world. You're either feeling amazing or terrible. It's either perfect or you failed. It's either yes or no, black or white. And the world does not exist like that. The world is so complex, and there's so many nuances, and there are just so many layers to everything, and you can't just break it down into this simple dichotomy of yes it is or no it isn't. That's definitely one that I struggle with, especially with my emotions. I would go from feeling like $1,000,000 to feeling like shit within minutes. And I especially felt this way during my addiction. That's why I used, because I wanted to numb that feeling. But I am definitely getting better at it. It's still something I struggle with though. Maybe it's one you struggle with too. The third cognitive distortion is overgeneralization. This is exaggerating things a bit or stretching your conclusions with little evidence. So you are taking the conclusions that you made off of your personal experiences or the personal experiences of people that you know, and you're trying to take them and make a blanket generalization for everybody. And it doesn't work like that. That's very rigid and inflexible, and it lacks evidence, and we really can't know. A thing that you'll notice with overgeneralization is people will use words like always and all, everybody, nobody, never. It's better to have a more flexible language, using words like sometimes, often, may, possibly. Makes sense. Pretty simple, but it's something that we just do without even thinking. All right, and the fourth and final one is the shoulds and musts. I like to call this one the inflexibility. You can't say that this should be done this way and this must happen like this. In order to be in recovery, you must be off of all medication. That just doesn't work. You know, there are always going to be exceptions and special circumstances. And your personal opinion is, it's just that, it's yours, it's personal. What works for you is not going to work for everybody else. And that's important. You're entitled to your own opinion and how you think things should be done or must be done, but that's for you. That's your personal value. You can even hold yourself to an unfair standard. I should be studying right now. I should be spending more time with my son. I should be doing blah, blah, blah. Like, there's always going to be something. You need to focus on living in the moment and not pushing your personal beliefs onto other people. The key to this is to focus on each person's uniqueness, personal needs, their personal limitations, failures, fears, what they truly need. And we could never know that about someone else, not even with the most intimate person in our lives. We only know what works for us, and we really should respect what works for someone else. You're definitely entitled to an opinion of what should happen, but allow for the possibility of being wrong. I hope that this video was interesting. If you want to see more videos like this, click the like button and definitely subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the feedback that I'm getting. You guys are awesome, and have a great night.